Okay, here we are for sort of a different type of dude's views. This time about Halloween Horror Nights, one of my favorite events of the year. This year's event in Orlando is going to be pretty much all 80s themed, which is really cool in the dude's view. Uh, got a lot of 80s events. Looks like one of the scare zones is got a New Year's Eve, like 83 or 84 vibe to it. Of course, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which was a low budget uh, B horror movie from the 80s. Not a huge horror movie fan, strangely enough, especially things like Killer Clowns, where it got pretty gory. But I thought Killer Clowns was got some really cool things with the evil cotton candy and all the circus stuff. But of course, the big thing this year is Stranger Things, which, hey, is set in the 80s. So, I can definitely see parallels between Will and his friends and me. I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, so this maze really has my attention. Right from when Halloween or when Universal released this video that you see right now, showing the bike in front of the Halloween Horror Nights entrance, the Universal Studios entrance. Um, you know, it was really high hopes they were really going to do this right, and with what's been released now, it looks like they're really going to knock this one out of the park. And most likely, we'll see season 2 next year and season 3 after that. So, what was released this week, really the reason for me to do this is there were 6 pictures released from inside the maze. Now, these pictures are a little odd because they're really brightly lit. Um, Obviously, not lit like they're going to be when you walk through them. So you get but you because of that, you really get to see the detail in these sets that they put together. It was really just top notch. So the first one here, you see, the buyer's living room after the mother has put up the Christmas lights and the letters trying to talk with Will in the upside down, and the lights on the top. So hopefully, they can really use the Christmas lights, and it'd be really neat if they could use those, and the monsters could use effects to trigger Christmas lights before they show up. Definitely, the Demogorgon, which got to show up quite a bit through the maze. Um, this is the first picture, and really the wow picture is like, okay, that's like dead on from the show, so that's pretty cool. The next picture is Will's room. As you can see with the Jaws poster on the side there. It's a nice little thing, especially Universal. Um, and of course, this now has an entrance. It's not totally canon. We're not in the upside down, but you have the big hole in the wall going into something else. Um, but again, the detail here, this isn't dead on from the show, but it's got all the little details that make you really know, okay, yeah, that's what this is, and definitely keeping the 80s vibe. So then you go, the next picture they released was what looks to be part of the upside down at the Hawkins lab. You can see some of the alien pod stuff around, and some scientific boxes and things around. So I'd assume this would be a pretty big part of the maze going through the lab. Probably, and I would assume that this maze is going to have, you're going to go through a lot of stuff twice. I would assume you'll have the normal rooms and then the upside down version of those rooms. It'd be cool if they maybe do the transition perhaps in the pool, since that's like the first one where you see it before you really know what the upside down is. Next picture here is Castle Byers, and now we're outside. We're walking through the woods where Will and his friends would go into this fairly tiny little fort. Doesn't look like you're going into it, but just by it. But again, if you compare pictures of this to the TV show, it's exact. So really good job. Then the next here, we're outside of the Hawkins lab, in what seems to be the normal world. So again, I'm sure we'll see the lab at least in both, and then the final picture is another, just where the set design is unreal. As someone who went to high school in the 80s, You know, that was really a cool thing from the show, and this really gets the vibe perfectly, and again looks right out of the show. The middle school hallway here, so you know, obviously we most likely are going to see the gymnasium and then some of the other rooms where they're running away from the Hawkins lab goons. So then Universal also released this video I'm showing here now of what looks to be, you know, people walking through the maze. I would assume this maze is probably almost completely done, since this is clearly the star of the show. They're going to make sure this is done and ready to go, and we're only a couple weeks out anyway from media. So you know, a pretty cool little short here to really get you excited. So you know, obviously this is where a lot of the money went, and it's sort of replacing The Walking Dead, and I guess The Shining from last year was one of the big IPs. Hopefully this is a decent long maze. One thing I sort of been surprised in recent years is it seems like the mazes are getting shorter. Maybe it's just because I know what nights to go better now, and how to hit it, so I'm going in when there's less people, so it just seems shorter. I don't know, but it seems like they're getting shorter. Definitely the IP mazes are getting shorter. Some of them too short, in my opinion. But this one, I think Universal is going to knock this one out of the park. Hopefully there's plenty of characters in here. That's one thing, you know, the show, you know, really goes around 11 and the boys, and I assume you don't see, I guess you could maybe see 11 in the maze, but I sort of doubt you'll see the boys. So that's sort of an odd thing. I guess you'll see probably a lot of Hawkins lab goons and the Demogorgon a few times, maybe him a lot. I guess you could have some of the other creatures that you see there. But I have a feeling it's going to be mostly guys in the white suits with sort of the ET vibe, and the Demogorgons, and you know, you're not really going to see the main characters. Maybe you'll see the cop a couple times, maybe Winona Ryder's character a couple of times, but even that, I guess they could pull her off. The little kids, I sort of doubt that they will, but you never know. They have done that before, but hopefully this uses a lot of sound cues and triggers, which I like. That is the new thing that they're doing with a lot of the mazes around IPs. So that's sort of my view on this. Looks really exciting. I think this is really going to get a lot of people raring to go for Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando this year. So, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And, you know, I have a hodgepodge of stuff, but I do have a lot of Halloween stuff. I have a lot of really old Halloween Horror Nights videos back when you could actually video going through the mazes. I think I have the only video of the Maximum Carnage maze that's on the web. Bunch of Not Scary Farms stuff, some Bill and Ted stuff, which, you know, really, it really sucks that this is an 80s themed Halloween Horror Nights, and this first one without a Bill and Ted show. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, that would have been, they could have done a Bill and Ted's in the 80s show without and traveling into the future instead of into the past. So, I don't know. It really, really sucks there's no one Bill and Ted this year. But time moves on, I guess. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you later.